Welcome back. Anglo Platinum will retrench more than 470 workers at its Rustenburg operations. The retrenchments stem from a 2013 announcement that the company would be restructuring its mines to make them more sustainable. Now, in that year, Amplat stunned unions by announcing plans to cut around 14,000 jobs. The mining minister, Susan Shabangu, at the time threatened to withdraw the company's license following consultations with government and unions. The numbers of layoffs was cut substantially and voluntary severances were offered. It was finally agreed that around 1,200 employees would go, but close to 800 have been redeployed. The 470 workers who will be retrenched will be given severance packages and other benefits as per an agreement with union AMCU. The National Union of Mine Workers has accused the majority union AMCU and Amplat of colluding to retrench these workers. Now, the NUM says it's exploring ways of assisting the workers and other vulnerable workers by taking the legal route. AMCU and Amplat have not been available for comment. Well, let's get a view now from Labour analyst Mamokgethi Molopyane. Great to have you with us. Well, what do you make of this opinion put forward by the NUM that AMCU and the mine Amplat actually conspired to get rid of workers?
Well, it is not something new really in the labour dynamics of South Africa. If you'd recall, every time the opposition union have something to do with the employers, there'll always be accusations that they are colluding with the employers. However, given that this was planned probably since 2013, 2012, it is not surprising. In fact, that Amplat is retrenching 474 workers, does imply that perhaps Amplat itself is retreating, because if you recall, they were going to be in thousands of numbers. So it's not surprising really, the figures, but that NUM is accusing AMCU of colluding with the employer. Again, that is nothing new really in that.
I think you're right. It almost seems like AMCU has achieved something quite substantial here.
It could be that. Remember, the initial number was 13 to 14,000. Then they backtracked when the minister said, we will withdraw our license from you. But then, given the challenges that the platinum sector, platinum metals group is facing, it's surprising that the number is so low. If you compare it with New South Wales in Australia, where the number of retrenchments are much higher and their mining conditions are not as labor intensive as here. So it's really a little number per se. It is going to affect a lot of people indeed, yes, but what we had estimated was above 1,000 and more.
So Amplat, is there any reason to be cynical here, in fact? Because Amplat is still actually selling some mines in Rustenburg, looking for those buyers. So maybe there will be job losses again, but that will be the problem of the new owners. Amplat keeps on saying, no, if they run it efficiently, there shouldn't be further job losses. But is that very likely in future?
Look, it's likely going to happen. We know that when mining companies often close or activities mothballs and they decide to close shafts, that has an impact. The first casualties are usually the workers because they are seen as a cost. So in terms of trying to minimize the cost, the workers are the first to go. However, if the new owners or whoever will be buying the Amplat's plant come, they cannot hire new people. They'll have to take the existing staff because they cannot afford to retrain new people. First of all, the continuity of the project is necessary because the skills of those workers that they had. And we must remember that this is not just a uniquely South African thing. The platinum metal groups globally are facing a crisis.
That brings me to my next question, because I was going to say, are the chickens coming home to roost? Because workers punish these companies with protracted strike action, or is this just what companies have to do because of the environment that you're talking about?
It really has little to do with workers at this time. In the South African narrative, we tend to say most of the time that workers are the problem. If you look at Australia, I'll go back to it again because they too are mining platinum. They do not have the type of labor we have. They do not have protracted strikes. They do not have labor unhappiness. They do not have workers going for strike on months. Yet, some of the big three platinum producers and gold producers are closing down operations and cutting costs, meaning the problem is not labor related, the problem is global commodity prices, the problem is market receiving of, market overflooding of the platinum in the market. So that poses a challenge. In South Africa, unlike Australia and other nations, it will always be felt at a labor point. It will always be felt at workers' level, whereas in other countries it's different because here at home, our mining, we know it's quite labor intensive and so forth. So that is the main issue that is affecting the platinum sector. And it's not surprising, it is truly surprising, rather remarkable on employers that they've managed to cut down so little jobs when the estimates that we had been predicting, especially at the end of Q1 after they announced their interim results, was that they would at least cut 2,000 to 3,000 workers. So that it is in less than 500, it is something positive.
So at least some workers spared. But if we look at it over time, I think I saw a figure before 2013, Amplats had already cut 19,000 jobs. The mining sector in South Africa, I guess we can say, has changed radically over the last few decades. And should we be proactive and try and halt the job losses, or should we sit back and say this has to happen because of the global markets, because of mechanization? There's nothing we can do.
First of all, the Department of Mineral Resources should be very, very, very proactive. I emphasize that. We tend to always be reactionary in our mining sector, which is sad because some aspects of our mining, we are leading in it. However, the impact globally, up until China's economy moves away from stagnating to improving, we have no control over it. Up until the global influx of platinum reduces, we have no control over it. Can we delay? Can South African, can multinationals operating in South Africa delay retrenchments? Absolutely they can. But will they eventually happen? Yes, they will happen. The mining industry is changing, not just here at home, globally. We are but one of the many players in the global field of mining industry, and it is going through a change that is very hard. Production has to be cut, the projects that were expanded had to be reduced, cost has to be minimized at the utmost. And often, sadly, when they say we are minimizing cost in the mining industry, the first impact is at the worker. In South Africa, the first impact is at a low-earning worker because they can say, the company can say, we can afford to sustain the company while we have retrenched that. So it is something that the Mineral Resources Ministry will need to look at, put measures in place, look perhaps at small-scale mining to see how we can supplement the retrenchments that are going to follow, not just in the platinum metals group, but in the coal sector also, yes.
Thank you so much for your analysis. Unfortunately, for those workers, 474 are being cut ahead of Workers' Day tomorrow. That was Labour analyst Mamokgethi Molopyane.